Hello children. Today we are going to learn about the internal structure of kidney. If you observe, the structure of the kidney is bean shape, which is reddish brown in color. The outer side is convex, whereas the inner side is concave. If you observe the longitudinal section of the kidney, you can see this is the ureter, which is connected to the urinary bladder. These are the renal artery and renal veins, through which oxygenated and deoxygenated blood is carried to their respective places. These three, renal artery, ureter and renal vein, are connected at the place called hilus. So, the site where these are connected, we call it as hilus. If you observe, this is the shape of the kidney. The outer part, we call it as cortex. Outer, just light reddish color, it is cortex, whereas the dark, which is slightly dark, when compared to cortex, it is the medulla. We call it as medulla. See, this is the medulla. And the pyramid shaped, the pyramid structures which are present, the inner portion, that is in the part of medulla, we call it as calces. These calces consisting of more than 1 million of nephrons, which filtrate, means the process of filtration takes place in these nephrons. If you see, these are the pyramid structures in which nephrons are present. So, this is the internal structure of the kidney. And the outer part, where medulla and the hilus are connected, we call it as pelvis. This is about the internal structure of the kidney. When the blood reaches the kidney through the renal artery, the blood enters through pelvis into the calyces, and reaches the nephron for the purification of blood. This is the structure of the nephron. This each and every single line, we call it as nephron. And if you see, this is the structure of the nephron. This nephron, again, it is divided into two parts. This, the cup-shaped structure, and these capillaries, the blood capillaries which are present inside the Bowman's capsule, these two together called Malpighian tubules or Malpighian body. Whereas the remaining part, the lower part, where the tubules, where the filtration takes place, we call it as renal tubules. So, the nephron is divided into Malpighian body and renal tubules. The cup-shaped structure, you can see, this is a cup-shaped structure of the nephron. We call it as Bowman's capsule. This Bowman's capsule is supplied with the efferent arteriole, and this is the efferent arteriole, and the blood which enters into these efferent arteriole, again it releases blood through efferent arteriole. Here the filtration, some amount of filtration takes place. It consisting of same the concentration same as the substance which are present in the blood. So here the liquid portion, the solid particles are separated. The efferent arteriole is thick, whereas the efferent arteriole is narrow. Why this efferent is thick and efferent is narrow? Because to get more amount of blood filtrate. So, due to the pressure of this efferent arteriole, because of the wideness, thickness of the efferent arteriole, blood enters, more blood enters, whereas the thickness, the supply of blood decreases when it reaches the blood capillaries, outside the Bowman's capsule. So, the blood, more amount of blood is present in this Bowman's capsule. So, due to the presence of more amount of blood and more time, here the filtration, more amount of filtration takes place in the Bowman's capsule. And the efferent arteriole is attached to the blood capillaries. A network of blood capillaries. These are the blue color lines are the blood capillaries which are surrounded to the renal tubules. If you see this, the lower part of the nephron we call as renal tubules. Again, these renal tubules are divided into three parts. You can see here the lower part is the loop of Henle, which is narrow when compared to the above two parts. The upper, the starting point of the Malpighian body, renal tubule, we call it as proximal convoluted tubule or first convoluted tubule. This is the proximal convoluted or first convoluted tube, that is the PCT. This is the loop of Henle which joins the PCT with the DCT. Here, from here, loop of Henle which is attached to the DCT. This is the second convoluted tubule or this tubule. These two, PCT and DCT, are connected with the loop of Henle. This is about the structure of nephron. Next, how the purification, means the filtration of blood takes place. We will see now. The mechanism of urine formation, that is nothing but filtration of blood, takes place four steps. That is glomerulus filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion and concentration of urine. So it won't take place in single step. If you observe here, the Malpighian tubules, the solid particles are separated and the liquid part is absorbed into the renal tubules to the blood capillaries which are attached to the renal tubules. So the solid particles are again sent back into the blood. But the liquid part, which consisting of both important and harmful substances. So we have to, the main function of nephron is to separate the useful components of the blood and supply it to the back into the bloodstream. Whereas the harmful substance which are harmful to our body, there is no function, that must be removed from the blood in the form of urine. So we call it as mechanism of urine formation. The glomerulus filtration. This is about the glomerulus filtration. Because of the efferent and efferent arterioles and pressure applied in the Bowman's capsule, more amount of blood is filtered here and the leftover liquid is passed to the renal tubule through the blood capillaries. The next one is the tubular reabsorption. Here, why we are calling reabsorption? Means whatever the blood purified in the glomerulus sometimes may contain some useful components of the blood. So, the main function of these tubular reabsorption which takes place in the proximal convoluted tubule is here any important blood substances which are present are again absorbed, given back into the blood, absorbed by the blood, and waste is sent into the DCT, second convoluted tubule, through the loop of Henle. So, the important substances like calcium, potassium, etc. are filtered in the glomerulus, should not waste. So, again these PCT will reabsorb these nutrients and send back into the bloodstream. So, that's why we call it as tubular reabsorption. Next, tubular secretion. Here there is no function of loop of Henle, just it connects the PCT and also DCT, but there is no special function of loop of Henle. When the blood reaches to the DCT, or you can say the tubular secretion, the filter blood in this tubular reabsorption, the amount of urine formed is same as the blood components, same as the blood, means it also contains the components which are present same as the blood and urine. So we call it as primary urine in the PCT. Then because it also contains some nutrients, important substances, so it must be removed. That's why we call it as primary urine and same composition as the blood. But here the important substances are again given back. So when it reaches the DCT, there is no important substances again in the blood. So we call it as urine itself, which consisting of urea, uric acid, some ions. So they have to remove from the blood. So they are transferred to the DCT and again connected to the pelvis. Here they reach from one side and reaches the next side, reaches the pelvis and given back into the urinary bladder through ureter. So the DCT, and this in the DCT itself some amount of pH is also maintained. So DCT also maintains the pH of the urine. Next, concentration of urine. Whatever the urine which are formed in the DCT, it maintains pH. When this formed urine is collected through the ureter into the urinary bladder. So, when the complete urine is formed, it maintains more amount of pH, means it has pH value is more, and waste, it is nothing but waste, the waste liquid part of the blood. So it increases, the concentration also increased in this state, and because of the secretion of a hormone called vasopressin. This vasopressin helps the person where concentrated urine is too fast, means sometimes the people may not drink more amount water. So there is no urgency of passing the urine. But then at that situation, the concentration of urine increases. In such persons, the vasopressin helps to maintain the concentration of the urine. But the persons who drink a lot of water daily, they pass the urine regular intervals. So the concentration of urine may not increase. In that situation, the person may not need the vasopressin hormone. And the repeat passage of urine because of sugar levels, increase in the sugar levels in the blood, and they have the urgency of passing urine regular intervals. In such situation we call it as diabetes insipidus. So that situation we call it as diabetic insipidus. By this we have completed the mechanism of urine formation. Till now you have learnt about the kidney. That is, the excretory system includes kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, urethra. So till now we have completed the first part, that is the kidney. In the next class we are going to learn more about the remaining parts. Thank you children. See you in the next class.